Your Excellency, the Governor of the Press, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, His Eminence, Reverend Dr. the Senator, Criminal Senator of the Nigerian Army, the Coordinator, Operation Ryan Babatunde Gambari, the outgoing base commander over Takoro is proceeding to the United Kingdom for the cause. The personal assistant to the national produce members of their delegation.
Okay. The prayer.
Invite Reverend Dr. Mr. and invite Reverend
Let me first underscore the fact that the crisis in southern Kaduna predates the emergence of your government. However, the fundamental reason that we are here is for your government not to allow the crisis to linger. It is on record that other administrations achieved some level of peaceful coexistence among the various ethnic and religious groups in the state. Hence, in finding a solution to the ongoing crisis, Camp believes some lessons could be learned from the past in order to draw a roadmap for the future. You will agree with me, Your Excellency, that one of the main responsibilities of leadership is problem solving, as it is not about the benefits or the paraphernalia of office alone. Accordingly, it was because the state had problems that was why the people recognized you at the right peg, in the right hole, and you were elected. Hence, your office as the governor is a trust, which by the grace of God, as I pray for you, you will be able to keep and put smiles on the faces of all by working sincerely to restore peace to the places of trouble in this state in Jesus' name. If such people had been brought to book before, the proportion was a far cry from the frequency of attacks and killings. The people causing trouble are not spirits. So it should not be too difficult to apprehend them and bring them to book. Your Excellency, if we continue to watch people do reprisal attacks without making both sides responsible for taking laws into their hands, we will be guilty of legitimizing criminality. Whoever attacks first and whoever is doing reprisal are both criminals that must be made to face the wrath of the law. Your Excellency, the Christian Association of Nigeria is ready to partner with your government and security agents in finding a solution to this matter. Let there be a roundtable discussion and a pledge of cooperation rather than confrontation in finding a solution to this wicked and embarrassing development. In view of the foregoing, sir, we request for the following. Number one, a stop to accusations and counter-accusations between the government and other stakeholders over the killings in southern Kaduna, but rather a roundtable solution. Every provocative statement over the matter should be avoided. Everybody is looking at the governor as a father of the state. And this is the understanding with which he should undo every accusing finger pointed at him. Your office is like that of the dung, where all kinds of rubbish are dumped. When you are not in charge of the governance of the state, nobody was pointing accusing finger at you. So I believe this is part of the body of leadership. No bandit, gunman, or cattle rustler should be allowed to strike and disappear into the thin air any longer without being pursued to his or her base for apprehension and prosecution. 2, 3, the guns in the hands of criminals should be recovered. Bushes will be combed through surveillance to do this. 4, technologies will be deployed extensively by the security agents to apprehend the criminals in their hideouts, including the machineries that may be coming from outside the state. 5, all sources of ammunition the bandits and killers are using should be investigated and blocked. 6, community healing, forgiveness and reconciliatory meetings should be held, bringing different ethnic groups in communities together to chart the way forward for peace. 7, your government, sir, should further strengthen the State Emergency Management Agency and the Kaduna State Peace Commission for the development and rebuilding of Southern Kaduna and other crisis-ridden areas. In addition, a commission can be set up, sir, to cater for many orphans, widows, and widowers whose future are being put in jeopardy as a result of the killings of their breadwinners. 8, it is apparent that killings are noticed on both sides. Nevertheless, an increase in security forces should be deployed to the troubled spots until lasting peace is restored.
We must find a way to get our diverse communities to live in peace and let the diversity be a source of strength rather than a source of division. We have been consistent in saying that beyond boots on the ground, military bases and police stations, and we have had many, we've added many since we came into office, the ultimate guarantee of peace is the willingness of communities to live in harmony and their resolve to settle differences through lawful means. Some people do not want to hear this because it imposes responsibilities on individuals and community leaders to keep the peace and obey the law. But it is the civilized way to go. As governor, my first official duty was to convene an emergency security meeting on the 30th of May, on a Saturday. This was prompted by reports of killings the previous day in Sanga local government, one of the 8 local government areas in the southern Kaduna senatorial district. The outcome of that meeting was the setting up of a committee chaired by the respected and revered General Martin Luther Agwai, former Chief of Defense Staff, Nigerian Armed Forces, former Chief of Army Staff, to study and proffer ways to stamp out attacks in southern Kaduna, which had intensified since the violent aftermath of the 2011 elections. That emergency security meeting also decided to prepare a white paper on the report of the Peace and Reconciliation Committee that had been established by the government of late Sir Patrick Yakowa of blessed memory, which was submitted since 2012 and was gathering dust waiting for attention. In 2015, we took action against the urban rascality of Sarasuka gangs and began to address the widespread problem of cattle rustling and other acts of rural banditry that were emerging at the time and menacing many of our communities. We initiated contacts with other states in the Northwest and Niger State to discuss joint military and police action in the Kamuku-Kuyambana forest that straddles the concerned states. This resulted in a collaboration where the state governments contributed money and funded military action against bandits, then mostly engaged in cattle rustling and armed robbery in the Birnungwari Giwa axis. By early 2016, we took our efforts to build a constituency for peace across the state to another level, collaborating with the Plateau State government, the Gomgong of Jos, and the Geneva-based peace NGO called Center for Humanitarian Dialogue. In southern Kaduna, we supported the process of the Kafanchan Peace Declaration as a community-led effort for sustainable peace. On Saturday, the 12th of November 2016, it was with great optimism that I went to Samaru Kataf and we unveiled the Peace Apology Billboard in Samaru Kataf before we proceeded to the ceremony to present the staff of office to the newly appointed Aguatiap, His Highness Dominic Gamboya Haya. The tenet of the peace apology was a call for mutual forgiveness and a dedication to peaceful means of resolving differences. The Kapanchan Peace Declaration also created an NGO for which the state government pledged a seed capital of 100 million and further support to enable the communities rebuild themselves. However, that optimism proved to be short-lived. The outbreak of sustained peace that we expected was soon shattered by a spiral of violence a few days later. We pushed for more security deployment and took the then weekly meeting of the State Security Council to Kafanchan on 20th December 2016 in a practical effort at solidarity with the people in a time of peril. You saw the pictures of the reception we got. By early 2017, the Kaduna State government, working with the federal government, had answered the decades-old demand for expanded permanent security presence in southern Kaduna. The army established a base in Kafanchan, while the Kaduna State government acquired an estate, paid for it to accommodate a mobile police squadron permanently in Kafanchan. We had only one mobile police squadron based in Kaduna. We now have a second one in Kafanchan, and we had to pay for their accommodation. Our duty as government is to uphold a common citizenship, united in respect for the rule of law, equality of opportunity, and promotion of the rights and liberties of everyone. We cannot allow our common humanity to be relegated and distorted by the obsession some of our compatriots have with identity politics, which tend to divide rather than unite us. I dare say that what is at stake is the question of citizenship and a common humanity. The Kaduna State government applies a policy of citizenship anchored on residency in the state. Whoever lives here is our citizen and he has equal rights to everyone else. This ensures that the rights granted by the Constitution can be enjoyed wherever a citizen lives. The State Executive Council approved this focus on citizenship during our first term. This is the 21st century, Your Eminence, ladies and gentlemen, but some people do not want to see others as human beings and fellow citizens. This cannot be allowed. Fidelity to the concept of common humanity obliges us to see the other human beings primarily as our own people too. Their other identities as Christians or Muslims or their ethnic ties are secondary to their core humanity. After all, none of us chooses where he's born, and most of us don't even choose which religion to adopt. We just follow what we see our parents do.
You are blessed. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Amen. May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon you all and grant you peace. Amen. Now and forevermore. Amen.
Of course, it is also clear in the presentation of government officials that these killings are not only in southern Kaduna. We have a lot of problems in also Kaduna Central, where I'm representing, particularly in local governments like Igabi local government, Giwa, Chikun, Kajuru. We have a serious problem of banditry, where we lost the lives of a lot of innocent people. But thankfully, only last week, the Nigerian Air Force have responded to our request to increase the number of personnel in our area and in southern Kaduna in general and in Kaduna State. And of course, with this cooperation from the Nigerian Air Force, the Nigerian military and the police, I have no doubt in my mind the problem will be solved. But of course, I'm only going to call on well-meaning Nigerians who are not from Kaduna State to be very cautious and careful in making some comments about the crisis in Kaduna. This crisis is 40 years old, and of course we have been trying to find solutions. We are working closely with both the communities, the religious leaders, the community leaders, youth leaders, women leaders, to find a lasting solution to the problem. That is why I'm calling on the people that are not part of Kaduna State to be cautious in their own comments, not to incite the innocent people of Kaduna State.
My main concern moving forward is that, yes, I know it's a popular notion that military boots should be on ground, there should be more security and so on, but I'm sorry to say I have a view that is a little bit different. As much as possible and as quickly as possible, the warring communities should sit down and agree to take off military boots from the area, because there will be no investment, there will be no investor will be interested in an area that is characterized by military boots on ground. This is just my major concern. The second thing is that southern Kaduna should not be used as a battlefield for proxy wars, political wars, because I can see people are coming up with various interests from different parts of the country, sometimes well-meaning comments, but sometimes comments that don't help anyone in the area. I want people to be a little bit more cautious and be a little bit more kind to the people of southern Kaduna. It's not a place for proxy wars. If you look at Afghanistan, if you look at Syria and other countries where there are proxy wars by prominent countries, the area is a loser. And those fighting those proxy wars get away with just fueling the wars, arming different parts. And I don't want to see that happening to southern Kaduna. So I would call on everyone that is truly and honestly concerned to look forward within the shortest possible time that the military moves out of the area. Not for any reason. If you look at Lagos State, if you look at some advanced countries, some advanced states and so on, you find that once you propose military presence, they will say, no, we are going to settle. Why? Because with military presence, no investor, like I said, is interested.
Okay, sir.